is moving out daily, so don't hesitate to pick out your new scooter today. And don't forget, Mars Medical also has lightweight and compact transport wheelchairs available for sale or rental use for those day trips to the zoo or to the park. Some units weigh as little as 19 pounds. Or improve your outdoor activities with a rollator walker. Mars Medical has over 7 models of rollator walkers on the floor for purchase.
Make this summer one to remember with help from Mars Medical on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox.
Or go to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
Concerned about your retirement accounts or bank savings? Tired of stock market turbulence? Or simply curious about diversifying with precious metals? Tune into The Gold Show on AM 560, The Answer. Learn how gold and silver can help protect your financial future. Discover insights, strategies, and opportunities designed to help you make smarter decisions and guide you to more confident investing. Don't miss The Gold Show this Saturday morning at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Do you see yourself traveling, working part-time, or moving somewhere warmer when you retire? Hi, I'm Nolan Webster, your local Chicagoland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I want to help make your retirement goals a reality. Let's talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how we can get you there. Together, we can plan for the expected and make sure you're ready for the unexpected. Call me at 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107. Or visit edwardjones.com to get started today. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Well, I guess it takes 2 shootings before action is taken, and that's exactly what happened. So a Lincoln Park bar has been ordered closed after a fatal weekend of shooting. This comes after a previous shooting outside that bar 30 days prior to that. And so now you've got the Dime, which is closing. It's owned by 2263 North Lincoln Corporation, whose president is Amar Dabor. We'll get into him and his family's history a little bit more. They're of Palestinian descent, just to let you know. But a 30-year-old man was killed early Sunday after a fight spilled out from that bar into the street. Police had recovered 2 firearms and detained a 25-year-old man with no charges filed as of Monday. I don't know what the status is right now.
Still no charges, but They have him in custody. But this was melee. And this is what happened last month, too. People were inside the bar. They got in a fight. They take it to the streets. And it starts, Jeannie, with punching and pushing, and then leads to gunfire where close to 20 rounds were fired. And Alderman Timothy Knudsen, he's on it. He's the one. They have a 6-month closure right now.
It gives the police superintendent the right to close an establishment for up to 6 months if they feel that there is a risk or a pattern of violence occurring.
So is this a win for Chicago? 312-642-5600. You can call us or you can text us. The phone lines are open. Because if you look at their records, and you're going to dive into that, they should never have gotten a liquor license to begin with.
Well, you wouldn't think so with a record like this.
I mean, this is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Chicago City Wire did a pretty deep dive on it, something that you're not going to get from the legacy media here in Chicago. And they reviewed a bunch of court documents and law enforcement records, and they found that criminal records for multiple family members of the owner, Dabur, spanning over the past 3 decades, including allegations that the family also has ties to the conservative Vice Lords, one of Chicago's oldest and largest street gangs. Here's an example. Tamar Dabur, who is listed as living at the same address as his twin brother Amir, Amir's the owner of the bar, was arrested multiple times between 2014 and 2022 on charges including alleged cocaine distribution near a public school housing, possession of a large amounts of cannabis, possession of controlled substance, and receiving, possessing, or selling a stolen vehicle. He was also arrested by Glen Ellen police in September of 23 for driving under the influence of drugs. His older brother, Tariq Dabur, has also been arrested by Chicago police on multiple occasions between 2014 and 2025 on charges including aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon in a vehicle involving a loaded firearm, unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, aggravated assault involving a deadly weapon, failure to comply with gun offender registration requirements, a simple assault, battery, reckless conduct, and on. Tariq received a settlement from Cook County, however, in 2012 related to an alleged civil rights violation claim he filed while incarcerated in the Cook County Department of Corrections. This is one hell of a good family, isn't it? And then, wait a minute. The younger brother,
okay.
no. Chicago police arrested the younger brother, Badr Dabur, and I'm probably assassinating the names, but oh well, in 2023 on aggravated assault allegations involving a deadly weapon and receiving, possessing, or selling a stolen vehicle. In 2026, the Dabur family history with law enforcement predates the dime by decades.
Well, the dime gave an exclusive statement to ABC 7. You know, they said the owner and staff of the dime extend our deepest condolences to the family. The deadly, our thoughts and prayers remain with everyone affected by this. And they reminded people that while this tragedy occurred, and it's heartbreaking, ready for this, Jeannie? It's important to recognize that the incident did not occur inside the dime or on its premises. The facts surrounding this incident are the subject of an active law enforcement investigation.
Yeah,
and
apparently the fight spilled out, though, into the streets.
The fight started inside the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there have been multiple shootings. We just know about the fatal shooting the other night. And a month ago, a 39-year-old woman was shot critically. She's still alive. But the residents say there were other fights. And one business owner, Jeannie, he owns a Bacino's Pizza, John McMahon. What happened, when you have one bad bar, it affects the entire street. It's
affected business. Especially on weekends. You know, I used to get a real nice crowd in after 9:30, 10 o'clock. Now that's non-existent.
Well, continuing on, Alderman Timmy Knutson wrote in an email that the shooting reinforces his push for stricter limits on late-night bars along Lincoln Avenue corridor. He said police will increase patrols in the area, including on weekends, and urge anyone with information about the shooting to contact investigators. So, he's hopeful and confident that the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection will view this homicide as sufficient evidence of the need to support specific restrictions on this stretch. And
some neighbors, like, you think that the neighbors who have to live like this, because it's not easy. When you have a bar that's open till 3, 4, or 5 a.m. in the morning, that's a bit of a problem.
Yep.
One neighbor, this man, he says, and you can't blame them for all of the problems that we're having.
Just because we have a place like that is a little bit of a different crowd and something happens there, I don't think it's the place's fault per se.
Yeah. Well, other people said differently on Reddit. After the July 19th shooting, this is according to Chicago City Wire, residents took to a Lincoln Park forum on Reddit to debate whether the dime should remain open. Bar should 100 be shut down. I feel unsafe walking by it at night and have seen countless fights already this summer, one commenter wrote. Another wrote, the dime is literally ruining that area. Another commenter added that 2 shootings in a month means something needs to change. So the question is, how do they ever get a liquor license to begin with?
Right, that's the thing. I mean, who's vetting these people? I know the aldermen don't hand out the liquor license. I mean, it helps if you know the alderman, and probably bags of cash used to help out in the past when owners wanted to get that much coveted liquor license. But they go through a committee, and obviously they're not doing their job. Or maybe since the family's Palestinian, they thought, if they're so woke, well, we'll just give it to them because they're minority business owners.
Well, also according to Chicago City Wire, who continued to do a deeper dive than anybody else, a 1991 Chicago Tribune report detailed a federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Chicago Police Department investigation involving Mahmoud John Dabur, the Palestinian immigrant and the father of 8, including Amir and his brothers. According to the report, authorities executed search warrants at Dabur's home and his business, which was John's Food and Liquor, noting that it appeared to operate as a fence. Someone suspected of buying and selling stolen property and illegal firearms possession. Law enforcement officers said at the time authorities recovered about $200,000 worth of stolen goods, 4 firearms, and $35,000 in cash during the investigation. Now, in no way do these do any of these reports that I just read actually refer to Amur as having been involved in the law, but maybe he's the clean guy who could get the business license.
Oh, yeah, if it's a family business.
I don't know, but this is all, I mean, this is what, people need to understand. Seems like a family business here.
Let's go to Greg in LaGrange. You're on The Real Story. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Okay, but I need a clarification, please.
Mm-hmm.
What's the definition of a bad bar?
Well, one that's not a good community bar, not a good community establishment. And if you're having fights inside the bar that spill out onto the street and shots are fired, to me, that's the definition of a bad bar.
So is the problem the clientele that's walking in there? Is the problem the management? What's the problem?
I think it's a combination of both. What do you think, Jeannie? I mean, if you have management that let this go and repeatedly, this isn't the first time or second time.
Greg, let's be honest. We need more information. But the fact that all the people who are around that area, who live in that area, understand this bar to be the nexus to the violence that's happening, and they're unsafe, then we need to investigate it more. I absolutely, we need to investigate it.
Jeannie, why stop at just a bad bar? Why not just say a bad neighborhood or a bad street or a bad county or a bad state? Because let's face it, all of it's bad.
Yeah. Well, Lincoln Park's bar scene's not what it used to be. I can tell you that. Everybody has shifted over to Wrigleyville.
Oh, really? And it's not bad there?
Oh, no, it's bad there. Oh, trust me. You know what? But the mainstream, we had 3 summers ago. You ready? Listen to this. There was a barrage of gunfire. 95 shots fired. It was gangbangers fighting on Clark Street, and it barely made the news. I mean, we talked about it here on AM 560, but besides that, it was it was too embarrassing because that's supposed to be our safe spot. Don't touch Wrigley. I mean, you could talk about the Cell and the White Sox, but don't touch our precious Wrigleyville.
No, you can't talk about the White Sox because I'm a White Sox fan, and then violence everywhere. Let's just look at it this way. We have the worst leadership at every level of government that I've ever seen.
100%.
They don't care about our lives, and they don't care about our property rights. And until we clean that up, we have nothing anywhere. Jeannie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Greg. I 100% agree with you.
Thanks, Greg, for the phone call.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no,
it.
you actually, the entire set of Democrats who are in leadership in this state, they just will be part of the Democrat Socialists of America. They're just awful. Yep. All right, we gotta take a break here. We're coming back with Keith Pekau, who actually is or was Illinois' best mayor. And I'll tell you what, we're going to find out more from him about what happens when the government's got unlimited amount of funds to come after its own citizens for bogus lawsuits. We'll be right back with Keith Pekau.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's The Real Story on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
This is Captain Baker from the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, officer.
We have a report of missing employees at Hasselus Mattress.
That's right.
You're confessing?
Yes, I'm confessing that Hasselus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
Come again?
Shop for Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedic without commission-crazy salespeople breathing down your neck.
Sounds suspicious.
That's how we keep our prices way low.
How low?
Others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Queen Elm Cove A mattress for $1,599. But Hasselus has it for just $794. Plus, similar savings on Sealy Posturepedic and more.
That's criminally low.
And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
You wouldn't lie to a cop, would you?
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hasselus mattress delivery truck to my house.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
If you're watching the market, you may know that gold has pulled back more than 20% from its recent highs. Silver has fallen even further. History shows that this could be the perfect time to diversify your retirement portfolio to include precious metals like gold and silver. In crisis after crisis over the last 50 years, gold fell first, then surged to new highs as the crisis unfolded. That's why Advantage Gold wants to send you a free gold investment guide valued at $49, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's best-selling book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call 800-900-8000. In today's market, government debt has exploded to nearly $40 trillion, and central banks around the world continue buying gold at record levels. The smart money sees opportunity. If you're considering diversifying a retirement account with precious metals, tax and penalty-free, now is the best time to call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Getting right to it because we have a lot to discuss with him is Keith Pekau. Keith Pekau, former mayor of Orland Park. He was there for 8 years, did a heck of a lot of good. He was an incredible mayor during COVID.
He was
absolutely the best, putting out the facts, letting people understand how they were going to handle it separately, differently than the governor did. Giving people freedom to make their own choices, just really paying down debt, getting projects done, making the city safer. I think they were the safest city of their size in America. I mean, his accolades go on and on. But unfortunately, when there's money to be had, contracts to be made, people who don't like you because you did the right thing, maybe people that you let go because they were incompetent or corrupt, guess what? You make enemies too. And so when Keith Pekau refused to do some bogus Palestinian resolution, well, guess what? The Palestinian Muslims were against him as well. It ended up him losing to Jim Dodge in the mayoral race, but that did not end his issues with Orland Park. Oh, no. And Keith had been writing regularly to the residents, letting them know what's going on through emails. And then he started out with his dodging the facts. He's on volume 37. These are emails about things happening in Orland Park that people should know about their government because they're not being told other than through Keith. And one of them got a little bit of awry, apparently, and he got accused by the city of revealing confidential information, and then they sued him. And they've continued to sue him, and it's been going on for a year. And so this is what can happen to you when big government with lots of taxpayer money decides to sue citizens. So here to talk about that is Keith. Keith, welcome to the program.
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so just kind of go back a little bit and explain what they say that you did wrong and how this lawsuit developed, and then what's the status of it right now.
So back about a year ago, they had hired a couple people back that had gotten fired, and then they decided to go after someone who worked there who was a supporter. So I pointed out to people that they should FOIA the discipline records of the people they rehired. And additionally, I told people that they should look into what was coming with settlements from Jim Dodge from lawsuits of support people that were former employees who worked on his campaign that sued the village during his campaign. I said there's going to be big payoffs. And they took exception to those emails, so they sued me saying that I had released confidential information. By the way, I told people to FOIA documents. That's all I did. So it's been going on for a year. It's not a criminal case; it's a civil case, and their case was so bad it was initially dismissed after about 3 months. 90% of it was dismissed. So they amended their complaint, gave them a do-over, essentially, which 2 weeks ago was dismissed. 90% of that was dismissed. Now they said they're going to do a do-over again and amend their complaint. Cook County keeps allowing this. So think about it. If it was a criminal case, this would be triple jeopardy. And in a year, somewhere near $500,000 in defense costs, plus, last we checked, the village is spending about $40,000 a month to go after me. So they're lining the pockets of their attorneys.
But
that's what's happening.
So they're dunking on you. I mean, Jim Dodge won the mayoral race, and that wasn't enough. They have to go after you further. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, sure. They want to silence me and prevent me from exercising my First Amendment rights. The second reason is they want to damage me financially and professionally. The third is they want to line the pockets of their attorneys, which, by the way, Dodge got rid of the attorneys that have been the village attorneys for 36 years and hired the firm that did a bunch of work for him on his campaign. And I think most importantly, they're sending a message to people who are elected and to citizens. Be silent. Don't exercise your First Amendment rights and criticize us, or we will try to destroy you.
And so they came to just recently saying, well, we want to settle this with you, right? And they gave you a settlement document that is laughable.
They essentially wanted me to give up my First Amendment rights to criticize them. They wanted me to pay all their fees for them suing me, and they wanted me to agree that anything in the future that they said that I said that is confidential, they would determine is confidential, and they would determine what my sanctions were, and I was to pay them. So essentially, I was supposed to basically give away my whole life to them to settle this case. And there's nothing to settle. I haven't released any confidential documents. The records they say they want, they have admitted in court. They have all of the records. So the question is, what do they really want? Well, what they really want is to just destroy me financially and keep dragging this out. It's been a year.
Yeah, and that's right. This is all, they're vindictive.
Yeah. And the courts just dismissed all their claims that involve damages. All that's left is for the judge to declare that I can't keep documents that I don't have the right to keep legally. Only problem is there's no laws that say I can't keep any documents because, as you know, Jeannie, all records, according to the Public Records Act, the very first line says all records are public records. So,
I know.
Well, did it get so bad? Did you have to move out of Illinois, or when was enough for you?
Well, that was always.
So I had already put money down on a house to build a house in Colorado 2 days before they decided to sue me. So I was already leaving Illinois. Enough was enough with Illinois with what I saw, and my family's all gone from Illinois. So I moved closer to family and grandkids, which is great. And Colorado we've only been here for a couple months, but it's great.
Okay, before we get to the Colorado-Illinois comparison, which I want to get to, I really, really quickly want to also delve into this because a big part of the harassment that you've received came from a group of people in the village that were sending harassing robocalls, disparaging you and your wife.
That's right.
And now, finally, that guy who was is accused of doing that is sitting in jail right now. But it took almost like 8 years for these guys to find him out. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so those harassing robocalls, as you know, were going on for about 8 years. The village actually has a civil lawsuit against this individual because, well, we were 99% certain that he was behind those calls. There was nothing in the calls. Well, they were pretty vile, as you know. They didn't.
They were disgusting. They accused you of all sorts of sexual issues and all. I mean, just on and on. Yes.
Yeah, but they weren't criminals, so they couldn't dig into it criminally, and so they couldn't really find out who it was. Well, during the last campaign, Jim Dodge brought this person onto his campaign to work on his campaign, and during the last campaign, I received, not only were those robocalls going on, but I received some anonymous texts, as did others, that crossed the criminal line. And they were able to do subpoenas, look up IP addresses, found out that it was, in fact, this guy, or at least allegedly is this guy. The facts seem to show that it is. Enough so that about a year later, after I was out of office, because it was moved to the state police, so there was no conflicts, and the state police went to arrest him. Of course, the Village Board and Park Police didn't cooperate with the state police when they went for the arrest because, of course, Jim Dodge is aligned with the guy that they're arresting. So they ended up arresting him, charging him. The victims include me, the mayor of Tinley Park, Commissioner Sean Morrison, trustee Cindy Cancitas, a private citizen. And essentially there's 3 felony charges and multiple Class A misdemeanor charges. Initially, they let him off on his own recognizance, but we did get no contact orders, which he violated. And so he's now been in jail, I think now for about 2.5 months, and he just tried to get out yesterday again, and the judge still kept him in jail. So his actions since the no contact order obviously have been enough to keep him in jail. And,
yeah, so
I'm hopeful that that all these contacts with Jim Dodge and everything else come out throughout the trial.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not a fan of Jim Dodge, never have been. So, okay, Keith, I want people to understand the fight that you're in and everything else. Okay, really quickly, we only have about 40 seconds left. How are you finding Colorado compared to Illinois?
Well, Colorado's beautiful. As you know, it's a blue state like Illinois, but there's some things in Colorado structurally that just make it that it's not as bad, and it still has the potential for turning around. You know, for example, they have a taxpayer Bill of Rights law instead of a union workers, rights in the Constitution. Colorado's not nearly as unionized, 6% to 13%, right? Far fewer government entities. So things like that make Colorado more salvageable. Plus, it's obviously a very beautiful state.
All right, Keith, we'll be following back up with you as this continues on. And folks, you need to be careful who you elect. You know what? Keith was one of the best. Keith, we appreciate you. Thanks for everything you do. We'll be right back with the Watchdogs.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacenta.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump with a new threat against Iran, posting on Truth Social that anytime Iran shoots a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will bomb or destroy one power plant.
Overnight, Iran launched new attacks in the Gulf, targeting both Kuwait and Bahrain with drones. Earlier this morning, the Jordanians also reported incoming Iranian fire. Missiles were intercepted near the southern city of Aqaba, with explosions heard over the border in southern Israel.
Now, the president paid tribute to 4 American troops killed last week in the Iran conflict at a dignified transfer. Later, he heads to Georgia.
President Trump's visit comes less than 6 months after his trip to a North Georgia steel factory and ahead of 2 major midterm elections in the state. His stop in Marietta is expected to highlight education, according to officials at Wheeler High School in Cobb County.
It's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect partly sunny skies with temperatures reaching a high of 75 degrees and lower humidity compared to recent days. Tonight will be mainly clear with a low of 60. Tomorrow is set to be mostly sunny and delightful with a high of 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
All right. You know I don't push products I don't believe in, so listen up because this one I love. Recommend it to friends and listeners. It's Virago Liquid Immune Support. Yes, I shipped a bottle to Utah because I wasn't going to be without it. Why? Well, I had chronic shoulder pain for almost about a year. Went to, physical therapy, but I started taking Virago, and I called Dr. Huber and said, what is going on here? Why don't I have shoulder pain? And he explained to me that it is an anti-inflammatory. Besides helping with viruses and disease, it helps with inflammation, and inflammation causes pain. That's why he created Virago, by the way. It's that liquid immune boosting supplement packed with 23 powerful nutraceuticals working together in synergy. Again, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and even protects your heart, kidneys, and liver. And because it's liquid, your body absorbs it quickly. I mix my Virago every morning with orange juice and voila. So order your bottle of Virago today at myvirago.com. That's myvirogo.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com, coupon code IMMUNE.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
Fight or flight. In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At leavingil.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, it's that time in the program.
Well, we have some breaking news before we get to that.
Right.
Here on the real story, I want to give you the real story. The Cook County State's Attorney has just determined that the evidence is insufficient to support the filing of criminal charges against the 25-year-old they took into custody after the second shooting on a fatal shooting outside the Dime Bar in Lincoln Park. They claim the video shows 3 men all armed with guns and gunfire erupting from all of them. So they said that they do not have sufficient evidence to file charges in the case. So we'll let you know if anything changes. I mean, well, what about the other people with guns? Why don't you arrest all 3 men that are firing their weapons?
And by the way, find out if they even are they FOID card holders?
Oh, yeah.
How much you want to bet that they're FOID card holders?
Concealed
Did you put money on that?
Concealed carry.
Yeah, do they have concealed carry licenses?
I mean, this is you see the
Give me
video.
a break.
You can see it. It was on ABC7. It looks like the Wild West. What are we doing, folks?
I don't know. The minute I would walk onto, the metro with a gun is the minute I would get arrested if anybody found me, right? But these guys just go ahead and shoot them up on the streets of Chicago and, we don't have enough evidence. Well, fine.
Find the evidence.
Find the evidence. Haul them in. Go ahead and give them a gun violation, whatever it is.
Well, another problem, too, another point of contention was that residents and people in the area said it took forever for the police to show up, that there were not enough police officers to respond to the multiple shootings. And then you think Mayor Johnson, with this budget deficit he's facing, he wants to cut city employees, including active Chicago police officers. Good luck with that.
All right. Well, there's problems everywhere in government. We are I think Illinois is the government of incompetence. And corruption. Those 2 words come to mind whenever I think about what's going on around the state, whether it's in Kansas, Illinois, or Shelby, County, which the Edgar County Watchdogs talk a lot about, or anything else. But of course, it's time for the Watchdogs. Always a fan favorite because they tell you the news that you don't hear anywhere else, and it's important for you to know. Hey, John, welcome to the program. So an entire board resigns, and now they just rehired themselves? I don't get it. Tell us more.
They're back at work.
Yeah, that was in Bell. Can't remember the name of it.
Belmont, right?
Belmont, Illinois, and Wabash County. Yeah, they all apparently submitted their resignations by putting them in the mail slot in the village hall for the clerk, and then a day or two later, which would be right after we talked about it late last week, they all decided, well, we're not going to resign. And then the clerk was seen going to their houses and handing them back pieces of paper. We don't know, but we can probably assume it was a copy of their resignations.
Well, John, remind our listeners why they resigned.
En masse.
Well, yeah, they resigned because the mayor hired a sex offender a couple weeks after he got out of jail to do maintenance for the city and at the city park. And then the public found out and threw a fit. And then they went to a meeting, demanded all their resignations. The mayor resigned before the meeting. She hasn't unresigned. But right after that meeting or the next morning, it was a contentious meeting, and then all the board members, including the clerk, resigned. Some of them even said during the meeting that they were going to resign. And then, several days later, they unresigned. Well, state law don't allow you to retract your resignation if you write that it's effective immediately. So we don't know what was actually on the piece of paper that they slid in the clerk's mailbox, but I'm going to FOIA it, and chances are they're not going to have it because people saw her walking around giving papers back to the trustees.
I mean, good grief. Did they do it in part because the rule that says that essentially the courts decide who runs the city? Is that why they did it, or you don't know why?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they found out who was going to do the appointment of the new trustees.
And they didn't like it.
Probably not.
What about the mayor? What happens when the mayor resigns? Is there a backup mayor?
The board appoints a mayor pro tem from among the trustees, and the trustee does not have to resign, but can act as a mayor, but they only can vote either as the mayor or as a trustee. They don't have two votes, even though they don't have to resign their trustee office.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll keep us updated on what's happening in Belmont, Illinois. Just pay attention, folks. I mean, this may seem minor, but actually it's a big deal. And it's a big deal because the citizens took action and these guys all resigned over it and then unresigned. So interesting. Okay, let's talk about the Edgar County Board and their decision to not appoint the presumed new sheriff and a current part-time deputy sheriff to the 911 board.
We were at the meeting this morning, and now instead of deciding not to appoint him, it's up in the air waiting on our state's attorney to give them further advice.
Okay, so what's the whole deal with this everything? Give us the whole story.
Unlike the vast majorities of the 911 or ETS boards in the state, our 911 dispatchers are on the sheriff's payroll. Most of the 911 dispatchers across the state work for the 911 board, and they're on that payroll. Ours, the sheriff is actually in charge of the employees. The sheriff has a contract with the board, the 911 board, to pay the payroll of the 911 for them to transfer money to his account to make payroll for the 911 telephone operators. That is, according to the Attorney General, a conflict of duties because if the sheriff was on the 911 board or one of his deputies, they could not in every instance fully and faithfully discharge all the duties of both offices. If the sheriff wants more money, he can sit on the 911 board and convince him to give him more money.
Right.
Or if his deputy was on the board, he could tell the deputy, you need to make sure we get more money or I'm going to fire you. Or change your hours to working midnight shift if you don't want to. So there's a conflict. And back in 2015, the AG published an opinion on our 911 board and said that the sheriff and the deputy cannot be on the board because of the contractual conflict. And since then, the legislator changed and said sheriffs are eligible to be on the 911 board. Well, they've always been eligible because they're a member of a safety entity, public safety entity, and that really did nothing but add, the sheriff can be on the 911 board. But it didn't permit them to be on the 911 board when there's an existing contractual obligation between both the board and the sheriff's office, which created a conflict. So our state's attorney in the meeting said, that opinion was superseded by the bill that changed the law and added sheriffs in there. And gave them the permission to be on the board and recuse themselves should a conflict arise. Well, there's nothing in the new section of the ETS Act that permits recusals. So if you're not permitted to recuse yourself, you can't recuse yourself. So there's still a conflict. So we don't know at this point whether the new sheriff, who's the only one running for election this November, will be on the board or not. We don't believe that he should be on there, nor do we believe he will end up being appointed.
Yeah, they should just find somebody else. I mean, but this is another example. And you say you've been on this issue since 2012. You've been on this issue since 2012. You're 14 years you've been on this issue. Now it's rearing its ugly head again in Edgar County. And these are the types of minute issues that actually will matter in the end, because you could have, we've seen it in so many of your stories where it's a small entity, a small town, a small village, a small whatever. Everybody knows each other. That's one problem. Or it's all in the family running boards and commissions and everything else. And that creates its own conflicts as well. So, I mean, this may seem like a little deal, but it's really not. It's something that needs to be deconflicted. And instead of actually writing a really good law, what they did is they did, break the law, change the law thing like you guys always talk about.
But they didn't fix it properly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But then they didn't do it all.
The initial bill language required the sheriff to be on it, but the House amended it to just say that the sheriffs are eligible to be on it. Eligible, in my opinion, means if there's no other conflicts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, John, thanks a lot for that report. Let's turn to Kirk now. Kirk, can you give us a little bit of update about Victoria Bootram and her issue with the Kansas, Illinois, after they cuffed and stuffed her into a police car for simply putting some dirt down to prevent sewage coming into her backyard?
You bet. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah, I woke up yesterday morning to a Village of Kansas police Facebook post where they publicly displayed her mugshot and as a subject arrest for criminal damage. And then I read the report, and the report claims that she basically vehicle had been driven into the ditch on Brown Street, south of Vista, to place a load of dirt on top of a drainage pipe. During this act, the vehicle crushed the pipe, causing extensive damage and, along with the dirt, additional flooding. Well, she didn't drive in the ditch. The car is not what made the rut that is in the ditch. The culvert that I looked at didn't have any damage from whoever drove there, but apparently it was a truck that drove through it, because she's the one that called the police to complain about it. The dirt that she put there, we all know, didn't stop any natural flow of the water. But in the report, it says, putting this dirt there caused additional flooding. Well, she didn't block the drain, didn't block the flow of the dirt. So what additional flooding was caused by the dirt on the sidewalk? The entire community was in such outrage on these Facebook posts about this incident that they blocked all the comments now, or they shut comments off. And I'll bet you there's going to be 100 people at the next village meeting. They're so upset over this. Now, I have talked to other officers on the department, or one other officer, and he is livid, could not believe that this officer did this. This was not the way to solve this problem. The chief is out of town. He was going to reach out to the chief and find out what he may or may not know about this and try to get to some resolution. There's still nothing in the court docket at the state's attorney's office. There's nothing on judici, so she's not been officially charged. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. She does have an appear date of August 8th. I do plan on going. I think we ought to seek media credentials for that one and take the camera in there and videotape this circus. But here's an example, though, of the incompetence we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, I wake up to a post, an emergency notice call to action. All of these homes in this town in Kansas with a blue triangle need to fill out their water survey because today is the last day to turn in the survey to get the grant. And if we don't get enough surveys returned, we lose the grant. Why are we posting this the last day available for the grant?
It's almost like they don't want the money.
Board? It would take work. They talk about the two employees have gone door to door, or the officers have. Okay, when has a board member knocked on a door, or the mayor, to make sure these surveys get filled out and that we can get this grant? The incompetence and the laziness is beyond my comprehension. I just can't believe I'm living in this time. It's literally the twilight zone.
I mean, I just can't believe that you would handcuff a woman who put a bag of dirt down to stop raw sewage from coming into her backyard. I don't care what the situation is. They handcuffed her and charged her criminally.
Yes.
Well, and then they put publicly shaming her by putting her mugshot on Facebook. Do they do that for every alleged criminal in that town there?
No, but they put two of them up this week. So maybe it's something they're going to start. But no, typically we don't see mugshots of people that live in town and get arrested. It doesn't happen very often.
No, and this all happened.
The mugshots don't happen very often.
Yeah, this all happened after she went to the city council and just said, look, there's a problem here and I need help solving it. That's all she did.
Right.
She didn't even get angry with them. I mean, we played a clip of it last week. Nothing. And this is how they reacted. It's just so shameful. And I'm so glad that you have gotten some people around her, wrapped around her, that are going to protest all this and try and make it sense out of it.
Well, the sad part now is this post that they put up indicates that she drove over, created the rut in the ditch and harmed or damaged the culvert. That's not true. But now we've got a division already created that people are supporting the village police saying, well, this is what they said happened, so she should be charged. It's like, folks, that's not what happened. You don't know the details. You've obviously not gone and looked at it. You can't get by. Two vehicles cannot get by on that road without one of them having their wheels in the ditch. It's not wide enough. So, the fact that, I could drive by it and pull over, let someone by and put a rut in the ditch, does that mean I should be charged criminally? And when you talk about culverts that are damaged, just drive around any rural community. Do you know how many farmers hit culverts with their bush hogs mowing ditches? Should we go charge all them with criminal damage to property now?
No, the bottom line is sounds like they've just neglected their infrastructure for so long. And now they want to find somebody to blame because you got somebody new who moved into town and is saying, why is my water brown and why is there sewage in my backyard? And they don't want to hear it.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. That's all we got time for now with
work,
you two.
guys.
Thanks so much. Hold on, though. We'll be back because Amy wants to talk about baseball. Let's talk about baseball.
The slap that was heard around the world.
Exposing the lies and the misinformation from the politicians and the media. This is The Real Story on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson, and last year I hired Level 10 Coatings to give my garage floor a total makeover, and I am loving it. It still looks great, shiny, and clean. Level 10 Coatings. Now, you've got to call these guys if your garage floor is cracked, stained, still covered in salt. Don't live like that. Get it done now so you can enjoy it this summer. Level 10 Coatings. They're fast, reliable, and highly professional. Guess what? I went to work. When I came home, it was done. A shiny new gleaming garage floor. A quick, easy fix, and it's guaranteed never to chip or peel. Why? It's not an epoxy job. It's better. Level 10 uses polyurea, which is much better than epoxy. So schedule your free quote today and mention me, Amy, to receive $500 off. Visit level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com, or call 855-510-2628. Staff are local and ready to answer questions. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1862, Abraham Lincoln signed the Morrill Act, helping states create colleges focused on agriculture, mechanics, science, and practical education. The principle was not centralized control, it was opportunity. Lincoln's Morrill Act reminds us that America can support education without surrendering education to Washington. Why did it matter? Because a free nation needs citizens equipped to work, build, steward, and govern themselves. Scripture gives work a sacred weight. In Genesis, God placed man in the garden to work it and to keep it. Proverbs honors the one who works his land. Paul warns against idleness and calls believers to earn their bread. Why does that still matter today? Because education should form capable people under God, not dependent subjects under bureaucracy.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, you and I do not agree on this, but Sunday night's Cubs game versus Minnesota. There was a man in the 200 seating section who stood up. He had his Cubs jerseys on, and they started singing the Star Spangled Banner. It was the Jersey Girls. Great rendition. We don't have to play it for you, but I want to, but we don't have to. Well, while that was playing, he said, stand up or get smacked. He was talking to the punk, you know what, in front of him, row in front of him. And he said, stand up or get smacked. And then he just smacked him lightly on the back of the head. Thank you very much. That's what it sounded like, I'm sure. And it's the smack heard across the world because he didn't stand up. And what I think is he should have smacked him harder and maybe a little sooner.
312-642-5600. Let's go ahead, call in and just tell Amy, if you're sitting down for some reason that she doesn't like and she smacks you, are you okay with that? Well, what if it's your kid? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, smack my kid harder. I am sick of people taking knees, keeping a baseball cap on too during the Star Spangled Banner, going to church with a baseball cap on too, by the way. So these two, as it turns out, Robert Bob Chavez fought for our freedoms in Vietnam, was not respected when he came back to this country, as most of them were not. And he told the young man, Jeannie, his veteran status, and he told him war stories when asking him to stand, but the guy just kept sitting. So he let that slap loose, but then they started talking, and he started listening. And it was man to man, mano a mano, and they ended up being... they bonded, and the young man even bought him a cold beer.
I had a beer summit, just like Obama had. That guy.
But listen to this. It gets better. So when security came over to kick out Bob Chavez, the younger man told them it was all good. We worked it out, which is great. I'm so glad he got to stay and see the rest of the game. And he has a new friend. The Cubs confirmed Bob's narrative, saying the national anthem is an important tradition at Wrigley, and we respect the rights of individuals to decide for themselves, but we encourage fans to stand.
I'm sorry. It took a slap to make that happen. It took a slap. Seriously, you could have berated him. You could have done everything. But you lay a hand on somebody. I'm sorry. I think that's called assault.
You and I completely
totally
disagree. I love it.
I don't think it's appropriate at all to do that. You talk to the guy. You can yell at him. You can say whatever you want to. But, I mean, you basically crossed the line. And this whole thing that, I'm a veteran. I get to do it because I'm a veteran. I fought in a war. Really? Come on. Then you're a bigger man than slapping a naive kid.
All right, you're winning the argument. Thanks for joining us on The Real Story. Back tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Holy cow!
It's peaceful here. Quiet. But it wasn't always. Here, the past isn't confined to textbooks or music.